Okay, so we're back in the plaster room and we're going to be using the air chisel to further chip away at the master cast. And you can see here that I've sectioned it in no specific pattern, but just basically make as many parts as you can as possible. We have the upper one here that we were able to pry out prior, but that's not always the case. So we're going to assume that you're going to have to break off both master casts. So we have a shut off valve here for the air chisel. When you're done with it, just shut it off. And if you turn it in the same direction as the hose, the air is allowed to come through. There's also another shut off valve right here where you can turn it on and off. So I'm going to start by allowing the air through, but take note that when I'm putting pressure, I'm not holding the air chisel in that fashion. I'm always using my index finger to pivot around my index finger, so that way I don't lose control of the air chisel and possibly damaging the underside of the base. So I'm going to turn this on, and before I do so, one more time, you want to work from the outside towards the middle. Okay? So apply some gentle pressure. And you can see because there was a stress point there, I was able to remove that. And now I'm going to start here and kind of work my way to the bigger piece. Be careful though, when you are trying to break out this section, that you don't pry out the denture itself and create a midline fracture. So you got to be careful. So for that case, I'm going to start out back here because this is where the undercut is around the retromylohyoid. Again, use your index finger relatively close, so we don't lose control of the chisel itself, and work in little sections at a time. So I follow that stress point all the way to the outside, and that came right out. Okay? I'm going to continue here. Again, take note of my index finger, how it's acting like a pivoting point so I don't lose control of the chisel and possibly create a fracture. So that comes right out. And then again here too. I'm giving a good support for the base. One thing that you might want to consider is to wear a protective glove here to prevent cutting yourself from the sharp edges of the denture here. I didn't. I've been doing this for a long time. I know how to handle it without getting cut, but it would be a good idea to wear some kind of protective glove so you don't have that issue. So I'm going to continue here. This could possibly just come out on itself. I don't have to use the air chisel at all. So for the next little section, what we're going to do before we start trimming, these are ready to be trimmed now, but before we do so, I'm going to take both of these and I'm going to place them inside the ultrasonic with some stone solvent, and I'm going to place them in upside down because if there is any little residue around the margins, that's going to come out a little bit easier. So I'm going to place them in there. You want to take note, you have different time settings here, 15, 30, 45, and an hour, but keep in mind that if you are going to set it to an hour, the ultrasonic itself has a heating element inside. So it will start heating up whatever liquid you have in there. And it'll get to a temperature where you could possibly warp the dentures. So This is room temperature solvent that's in there now, so I can go to 30 minutes, but if there is solvent in there that's a little bit warm to the touch, I wouldn't go more than 15 minutes. So I'll set it for 30 minutes, but I'll probably take it out after 20 minutes or so. And these were relatively clean, so maybe 15, 20 minutes or so should do the trick. And you can see the ultrasonic is kind of moving the dentures around. And if there is any little stone particles that are still attached to the acrylic, the stone solvent will take care of that. So we're gonna close the lid and we'll come back after about 15, 20 minutes.